Hi, Tony DeWitt here, Missouri appellate attorney and a guy who likes to make the law make sense on YouTube. Other than what's been portrayed here in the media, I want to make clear at the outset that I'm stating my opinion here. Nobody should rely on this, on anything I say as a golden truth or fact. I'm just going to report on what I got here in the media and what I think about it. It's my opinion. You can feel totally free to discount it. With that said, well, what did I tell you? I told you the most dangerous 10 feet in America is between Dick Harpootlian and a television camera. And I think the latest filing in the Murdaugh series of cases is ample demonstration of that. Now, Dick Harpootlian has been quoted in the media as saying he doesn't need the money. He's got more money than he'll ever spend, and he'd be happy to represent Alex Murdaugh for free. But then his lawyers take the unusual step of asking the federal courts to interdict the state court receivers that were appointed back in 2021 to handle the assets that Murdaugh willingly gave up because he was under indictment for financial crimes. He had essentially pillaged his clients' settlements, at least allegedly, and I think now he's been convicted of that. And as a result of that, he doesn't have any claim on any of that money. So if you don't have any claim to any of that money, why would you be concerned with who gets it? Pretty clear that he wouldn't be concerned with who gets it, because he's going to be spending the rest of his life in prison. He's going to get 3 hots and a cot. He is going to be either in a federal or a state prison for a long time, and it is very doubtful that at any point in time he will ever be a lawyer again, nor will he ever have any way really to make any substantial income, except, I suppose, maybe by serving as a bad example. I'm not sure how much that pays. But our friends Dick and Jim have gone to the federal prosecutors and said, hey, we've got a great idea. We think you should immediately seize the assets that the receiver has, because the receiver is charging a fee for his work, and because of that, we think the federal government can distribute these funds without any fees. Now, right at the end of the Murdaugh trial, the murder trial, Dick and Jim asked the receivers to pay them more money because they were going to have to file an appeal for poor Alex. And the receivers said, no, I don't think so. We're not going to give you any more money. You know, you got what you got. Everybody has taken less than they're entitled to. And sorry, you guys signed up for this gig. It's on you. Well, apparently that didn't sit real well with them. So they filed this action, or they send this letter to the United States Attorney demanding that he seize the assets from the state court appointed receiver. Well, this is South Carolina, and South Carolina being South Carolina, the people who are the receivers are not particularly impressed by this action. They've made about $600,000 in fees acting as receivers. There is absolutely nothing untoward about that. If you are asked to do a job, whether it's mop the floor or build a fast breeder nuclear reactor, you are entitled to be paid for it. And they have been asked to supervise the accounting for and the distribution of whatever funds have remained from the Murdaugh empire, the Alex Murdaugh empire. And that's what they've been doing. And they've been charging hourly fees at a vastly reduced rate. It is difficult to understand exactly how much work is involved in a receivership, but you have to gather the assets. You have to verify that the assets did indeed belong to the person who you've been appointed to be the receiver for. You have to get involved in litigation with people who also make claims on those funds, particularly if those funds are located somewhere outside of South Carolina. And the process of gathering those funds can be quite vexing, I'll put it that way. The receivers have decided to retaliate. And what they've done is they have sent a subpoena to Dick and Jim. And here's what they're asking for. They want any engagement letters that might have been written or received or, agreed to by Alex and Dick and Jim. Hey, allow me to interrupt for just a second and ask you, if you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. And if you wouldn't mind, hit that like button. That lets YouTube know that this is a good video and they can recommend it to others. It helps me out a lot. Thanks. And they include in their subpoena anything that they got out of defending Paul Murdaugh before he, shall we say, met with a rather severe form of parental discipline. And then they've asked for any agreements entered into between Dick and Jim and Alex and any other Murdaugh family member regarding media rights, meaning books, movies, television programs, all of that kind of thing. They're essentially saying, hey guys, we want to know not only what the check's being written for, we want to know what's coming in underneath the table, which I think is an absolutely marvelous way, in my opinion, of putting them on their back feet here. So the U.S. attorney, being somebody who actually understands the law, got this letter, and he essentially went back to them and said, hey, look, I know you guys are lawyers, so I know you understand this concept called jurisdiction, and jurisdiction's kind of an important thing. Now, we're in this because there was federal crimes committed, and we have federal criminal jurisdiction over Alex Murdaugh. But here's the deal. Back in 2021, when all this came about, well, the state court appointed a receiver, and the state court had jurisdiction to do that, and their jurisdiction attached first. So while we certainly have the authority to seize Murdaugh's assets, we don't have supervening authority over the assets that were already given over to the receiver. So now we'll have to see what happens with the subpoena that the receivers sent to Dick and Jim, because I think it's really entertaining to watch how, while they say one thing, I don't need the money, on the other hand, they're like, hey, we'd really like to, find out where all this money's going. Why are those guys getting to bill fees and we're not? Anyway, I thought you might enjoy this. I think the whole Murdaugh case is a rat's nest. It is. It has disappointed me almost from day one. While I appreciated the jury's work and the jury verdict, this whole mess with the circuit clerk is infuriating and, perhaps more importantly, completely out of character for anybody who's elected to that position. I don't get it. Assuming that she did what they say she did, then he's going to get a new trial, and heaven knows what could happen in that case. I just think that it's pretty funny that the way this whole thing has turned out has essentially painted a rather dark picture, I would say, of the bar in South Carolina. And I think that is very much unfair. I think it's very unfair because there are a lot of really good, really honest, really ethical lawyers in South Carolina. And some of them are attached to this case, like Mark Tinsley and Eric Bland. I like the way those folks have dealt with the issues in this case. But some of the other folks, even the clerk, I think there's just a lot of room to do better. I'll put it that way. And I hope that indeed they do better. Well, that's the comic relief available to us today, courtesy of Murdaugh and his merry band of lawyers. Okay, well, that's what I have for you today. Thank you very much for watching. If you have the opportunity today, find somebody to do something nice for. Maybe tip a little larger than you used to at the restaurant. Maybe hold the door open longer for someone. Just do something nice. It'll make you feel better. And especially given the bad things that have happened in the past week, I think we all need to band together and be kind to one another. So, thanks so much for watching. As I said before, have a marvelous day and come catch me down here at the beach next time. If you like this video, here are a few others you might try, and don't forget to subscribe. Have a terrific day, guys.